Thank you so much for joining the Wild and Precious Life series. I am maybe a little more excited than I normally am, which I mean, I'm always fucking excited to have our readers every month. But we are celebrating 6 years of the Wild and Precious Life series. And to be honest, I'm shocked. I invite you to come read. You say yes. You come to hear other poets read. This series is only possible because you say yes. And I love that every time I invite someone, the excitement I still feel when someone says yes. And we're 6 years in. So I think that excitement is never going to go away. And it makes me extremely happy, especially given the world we're in right now. We need all the happiness that we can find and call on. So, 6 years. What do I want from you? I really want you to focus on kindness to others. We were just at a conference and we were talking about the legacy of Maureen Seton, which, besides being an amazingly talented writer, she was a light and a force of kindness to other writers, encouraging every person that she interacted with, making them feel like a celebrity and a rock star with their writing. We need more of that now than ever to our fellow writers. So I ask and I challenge each of you to say something kind to a fellow writer, someone's work that you've read. Make sure it's sincere. I don't think any of you are going to do it just to do it, but take that moment because you do not know what your kindness is going to do and hold for other people. And we so need that right now. So I'm going to hold up a glass. If you have something you want to do a toast, I am just so grateful for you being here tonight, for you that are watching the recording, who've supported this series. Thank you so much. Cheers to us and to poetry. One little small fact, giving how the whole calendar works. 6 years ago, we launched on a Wednesday that was April 1st. So this 6 year celebration has a little bit more special ring to it, I think. So, with that being said, how tonight is going to work is each poet is treating you with a poem. They're going to read their poem and we're going to move to the next poet. You're going to hear that poet introduce themselves. And we're going to have some giveaways. So I'm going to just show up a couple real quick. I have some wonderful pens from Karis Bookstore from Atlanta. This is Don't Feed the Fascists. And this one is a super gay, and you can move the little arrow around to how gay you're feeling in the day. We have a couple of beautiful hand carved heart stones. I have one fuck off pen that someone may want. I also have this lovely bag from Karis, which is Be Gay, Do Witchcraft. And then also have some more totes celebrating banned books. We have 5 books being given away by Riot in Your Throat Press. So thank you, Courtney LeBlanc, for donating those books. You will find out what book that you've won when it gets in your mailbox. And Small Harbor Publishing, thanks Allison and Christiane, has also donated some books for this evening, and those will be surprises for you as well. So I'll announce when you should shoot me some emails to win that. And now I really will be quiet and let the evening begin, but I couldn't forget about those lovely giveaways. Our first reader of the evening is the fantastic Kim Addonizio.
Okay, I'm afraid that there's something not very kind in this poem, but I think I'm a pretty kind person otherwise. But not everything is true in a poem either. So uh, this is called Eschatology. It's from my book Exit Opera. This is the latest book, and eschatology is just the theological concern with last things. Why I would be thinking about that, I have no idea. Eschatology. No way this ends with everyone rising from the family plot and rattling toward the celestial courthouse to be judged. Are we all frightened villagers? Well, yes. Everyone's cowering from something. Right now, Yet another atmospheric river is dumping stalled container ships of rain on the house, uprooting trees on the hillside. And in the Christ-addled brain of my neighbor, the divine horses are being brushed and saddled. Angels are polishing their instruments, struggling into their armor. It's true that things look more accurate prediction-wise if your prediction is more flooding and wildfires, more monstrous bugs scuttling toward the corridors of power. My neighbor believes she's pure enough to be resurrected and hoovered into heaven, while the secular infidels moan about science and get trampled underfoot. If I have to think about resurrection, all I see is a Netflix series where reanimated, Jake-legged corpses shuffle through the streets while the real humans kill them again, and often each other. The compromised world of the future pretty much already here. But how did we get into this discussion? Someone brought up the book of Revelation at the barbecue last week over a few grilling chicken thighs. My neighbor, who thinks I'm the whore of Babylon, watched me disapprovingly as I refilled my wineglass of abominations and spoke of God's people as credulous idiots. She said she would pray for me, smug in the knowledge of my imminent destruction. Oh, to be that certain, I almost admired her. But like the whore of Babylon I told the dirtiest joke I could think of and watched her grow red-faced and offended, and there the neighborly visit quickly ended. Thanks.
Hey everyone, I'm Alyse Bensel, and I'll be reading a poem from my second and latest collection, Spoil. And I'm grateful for Dustin and that he is only 45 minutes away up the road in Asheville from me. So I'm lucky I get to see him very often, including last week. Shotgun. Let's start with her, pregnant, you, unknowing, then knowing, me, learning. I'm tired of this narrative I've numbed to, like a 12 gauge fired off too many times against my shoulder. I used to watch my father disassemble and clean his guns, then put them back together. My non-pregnancy is an anti-narrative. The hollow in my throat constricts as I'm written out. People ask why I know so much about motherhood and childbirth. They ask me how many children I have. I reply, none. The narrative stops. A wedding, an ultrasound, a countdown to when you disappear. I cease to matter. My potential children don't exist. I met a woman who married because 2 months into dating, she took antibiotics. Her son was round and luminous. She could not believe he existed. We discussed cesareans, mastitis, stitches, the slow healing process, postpartum. She asked me to find her husband. He ignored her. The shotgun's primary parts, the barrel most of all, where you pull the snake through, scrub the chokes, clean apparent filth off the action. Who made the weapon? Who harbored it? I have the story out of order. There are too many moving parts I mistook for an opportunity to clear this up. I keep on missing everything you left out. This narrative may not hit its intended mark. I blame any misfire on my ignorance. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, I'm so busy swooning, but it's my turn. Thank you so much for those poems. Hi, everybody. My name is Mary Biddinger, coming to you from Akron, Ohio. Thank you so much to Dustin and Wild and Precious Life series for this opportunity. It is such a joy to be here. This is not just a series on Zoom, it is a place and it is dear to me. So it's an absolute honor to be here. Thank you for inviting me. So I have one prose poem for you, and this is from the journal Pithead Chapel. Shout out to Pithead Chapel. Thanks for publishing it. This is from my latest manuscript, and it's called Everyone Bowed Their Head and Prayed for God's Blessing. A convent childhood can be peaceful, my godmother waxed. The same way an empty field can be a bed, a bowl of snow, a meal. Beauty was an acre of frozen leaves. Desire lived under the lid of a simmering pot, enough to feed a fleet. Some girls would trade their day's dab of honey for a song that spread like syrup through a cold morning room. Everyone illuminated manuscripts by hand, adding cascades of tears to the statues, second tales for the lions. Sister Mary Rita frowned and cast those pages into the fire. Once my godmother swooned over a bead on the sidewalk. It turned out to be an odd nub of frozen blood, somehow more resplendent than a gem. The convent school employed 0 men. Even the coal was shoveled by a nun. My godmother and her friends grew gorgeous beneath their capes, completely out of view. I listened to this story from my sleeping bag on the living room floor, hair in tattered rag curlers. Chicago, 1983. Ambient bells of St. Ben's, the closest I got to church, unless my godmother wrote me into her plans. Most of her tales from the old country involved an explosion or a curse, fire-vomiting haystack, a family with generations of leaky right eyes. Except when she was telling me about the convent school, which lived in her memory like a nest of yarn. We walked to the Greasy Spoon for breakfast, my house devoid of bread and eggs, mother working late or dating someone from work, partying through the night. My godmother ordered only black coffee, preserving her stomach for the Eucharist. The hostess complimented her chic, modest snood, her coiled coif. The convent girls taught each other this twist, then promptly went to confession to atone. I devoured a pancake that looked like the full moon. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Allison Blevins, and I just want to say thank you to Dustin for the incredible community that he's created here and pretty much everywhere he goes. He's just an amazing person. So thank you, Dustin, for being wonderful. I'm gonna read an old poem from my second chapbook, Letters to Joan, and they're all ekphrastic poems based on the paintings of Joan Mitchell. And this is the first ekphrastic poem I ever wrote, and it turns out it was a little prophetic, because I was diagnosed with breast cancer recently. So the epigraph is after Joan Mitchell's No Birds, 1987 to 88. And interestingly, her painting is actually a response to Van Gogh's painting, Wheat Field with Crows. It's titled Promises Attached to This World. Daughter, when your 40s approach, imagine me in this field. Blackbirds swim on the wheat's clamoring beards. I'm blue in the corner, belonging and not belonging. Loose your children from your arms. Tell your son he is made of you. In this way, we live forever. Black wings already have begun to beat in both my breasts. Tell your daughter, blackbirds invade the sky. This is the rush of death. Happiness is sharp like a feather. Daughter, imagine me wandering the golden rose, my body awake, dark feathers uncoiling in a cutting rain. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Emma Bolden, and I just wanted to say, first of all, Dustin, just thank you so much for building this beautiful community and reading series, and just being you. I'm very glad to know you. Also, my mom said congratulations on the anniversary. So, discount shopping through the apocalypse. All of us women in TJ Maxx are sweating. We talk ice packs, plant estrogens, black cohosh, the shots that will lead us to love our bodies by losing most of our bodies, the internet says. The hangers slip off their clothes. It is not summer. The radio proclaims a high of 90 degrees. I'm looking more than ever at the mirror, which looks back at me more like my mother than ever. Eat your vegetables, the mirror says. Hold your shoulders up. Why do you never mop? I glow a rage so incandescent it's indistinguishable from the sun, which the internet wishes would just go ahead and explode. A friend sends an article about an asteroid that may or may not be aimed to end the Earth. Destroy me, Daddy, my friend writes. 3 emojis eject their tongues from half-moon mouths. I refuse to walk down the pinkest aisles. This isn't the time for pale, I say. This isn't the time for longing or low-slung pants, for pretending the eyes are windows for anything other than reflected light. All of us women in TJ Maxx dwell in bodies that have fewer rights than the day they were born. I wish my teeth would grow into knives, my nails into actual nails. At a frequency too high for human ears, each woman's body emits a constant wave of sound, like a siren, like a howl. Thank you.
All right. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay, awesome, awesome. My name is Teri Elam, and Dustin, I feel like I was at one of your first readings in 2020, and just thinking about life was so different then, so much has happened in between that time. So, but thank you and congratulations. This poem uh, is called My Niece is an Uprising. Now, just like to mention, she just turned 21, so I just, she's in college, so I really miss her, but it's called My Niece is an Uprising. It has 2 epigraphs: Be Nobody's Darling, Be an Outcast, Alice Walker, and I'll Love You in This Space and Time, Janelle Monáe. My niece is an uprising, long legged, muscular, an exclamation point. Her style, thick black hair, braided spirograph creations, oversized Basquiat emblazoned t-shirts or Black Lives Matter hoodies, ripped jeans, rainbow colored bands. Her gait, unhurried dancer body, morphs into semicolon, folding over my kitchen counter, preoccupied with some overly hyped kids chattering Nickelodeon speak, her iPhone the world between us. I slide her the Poet X across the counter. Tell me what you think, sweets. Her response, shrug and okay, I think. Same shrug translates, I'm not sure, when my mother, 93, speaks dementia. For me, a split between let me be. Because one day soon my niece will escape. I study her tongue, never speak it back, just wait, listen. I know a canopied, rose colored bedroom can constrict. The same Georgia walls hushed me at her age still conspire against. One night between Nick at Night reruns, her part Southern, part raspy burr confesses, I don't like dresses, Auntie. I play it cool, my repressed tomboy grinning inside. In her dialect, I give up a slight shrug. Translation, okay. We both code switch, wear floral print dresses to church come Easter or Mother's Day. Her lips, a subtle pink, mine red. Yet one day soon, my niece will catch her own gaze in a mirror, solve the profound algorithm her expressive dazzlers hold, then depart. And when she does, I'll unearth the hope chest I'm collecting for her to take in search of our mother's gardens, our ticket stubs from dirty computer at the Tabernacle in Atlanta, Clifton's The Book of Light, and a purple plastic gumball decoder ring to decipher languages of any labyrinth, like here, learn how not to bend or break, but leap and luster, will powering herself into fire flying free, who can't be caught by any person, place, or thing, even me. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Séamus Isaac Faye. So good to be here. Congrats, Dustin. 6 years is a huge accomplishment. Can everybody hear me? Okay? Cool. Okay, I'm gonna read a poem from my second manuscript. It's called Nuclear. It's not published yet, but it's on submission. And this poem was published in Adroit recently, so if you're one of those people that likes to read along, you can find it in Adroit. It's called My Therapist Graduated Me. My therapist graduated me, and what's to come of my personality if I can't make jokes about being broken? When my therapist asked if I thought I was healed, I said, maybe. What does a healed person do? Think of his mother as he stirs the red sauce in the pan with the wooden spoon. How, on his brother's 8th birthday, she threw one just like it across the room, screaming, "You'll find my body in the forest." Does someone healed think that his mother's safest violence was directed toward herself? How that was the best option in a basket of cruel impossibilities? Every kitchen takes on the shape of your mother's sometimes. Consider the linguistics of domestic, pertaining to the house, the running of a home, family, and violence, which has a definition and an aftermath. How, when the two form a confluence, you may find yourself haunted by the countertop, or the ghost of your alive mother, who is dead to you, smoking a cigarette on the side of the couch that she liked when she was really thinking. Does fear strike you? Because you knew between her thinking or catatonic, the far more dangerous phase was the thinking. If you opened your mouth the wrong way, sometimes the wrong way was open at all, her thinking ended in a new scar of yours. Mine. Have I healed if sometimes I'm just sitting there and unknowingly I've entered a portal that tastes like the past but has none of its materiality? Or is the act of coming back here when it's time to leave the portal an act of the healed? Maybe. Thank you. Congrats again, Dustin.
Thank you, Dustin, for having us tonight. Congratulations on 6 years of this incredible reading series. You've really sustained us through all of this time, the pandemic and the years that have followed. My name is Jennifer Franklin. I'm going to read one poem from my forthcoming book called A Fire in Her Brain. It will be out in January of 2027. The book is epistolary poems to Lucia Joyce, Virginia Woolf, and Sylvia Plath. And this one is called To Sylvia Plath, After the Dust Settled. After I had cancer, but before my diagnosis. After I left him, but before he initiated the eviction to remove me and his daughter from our rent-stabilized apartment. I didn't know that the unknown that swallowed me, like the darkness of Fontaine, would be my greatest gift, its freedom more complete than that of animals running, painted on prehistoric walls in ochre, oxide, charcoal. I ran out of that apartment, that neighborhood, out from 2 decades of captivity. You would have thrived had you been able to make it through that London winter, had you held on long enough to not kneel in your kitchen or bow your bent head into the open door of the oven. You would have walked out to the green fields of Primrose Hill, the children tucked in their warm coats to walk towards spring. Had you not been so exhausted and alone, you could have held their small hands to watch the tulips emerge from the ground in green spring, white, pink, yellow. You could have showed them the huge Rembrandt tulips, cream petals, edged with your favorite shade of red. Thank you.
Okay, I think it's my go, right? Dustin, thank you so much for the gift of this community that you've given us. You are a rare but necessary light, I think, in this world and this literary landscape, and I'm so grateful to know you. And also, oh my God, you have a whole ass kindergartner now. Right? What you should know about Dustin is Dustin makes for the sexiest events. And in the spirit of that, I'm going to go ahead and read a poem from my second book, the Book of Alice, called I Can't Write About the Ocean Without It Being About Slavery. But what if I want to fuck the ocean? How do we scholar circumatlantic trade and my desire to dip my oyster moist on the saline face of Earth? I'm saying I want to straddle the sea with both hips slapping like rafts, and shackle from kelp's clasp wrapping my legs held to dive, without needing to net bones from the sea floor and shore. Maybe this is a queer poem. Maybe the ocean is Mami Wata, and I want to tongue her trenches or hold her swells in my palm's small shell. Maybe I want to stew in the primordial brew from which life oozes, but do not read me from the sea slick with afterbirth. This isn't baptism or beast, not communion nor kink, and do not think of ships on the horizons, ghosts in their sails. Instead, a cast of blue crab scuttling the seabed, or seagrass licking worship from my feet, or the California sheephead, a carnivorous species of fish who ain't afraid to flip a black urchin on its back and see. We both know what I did there. Made metaphor dangerous and recklessly misfit in this, the thicket of trying to unbramble me into a conceptual sea. See, this poem is about my wish to pound waves in my wet wonder, its ass and ashy knees, my black body, literal and literate and mine, anywhere.
Ooh, thank you, friend. So I think it's time to do some giveaways. So I have 4 pins. Don't Feed the Fascists and the Super Gay that come from the fabulous Karis bookstore. Please find them online and support them. They're the oldest feminist bookstore in Atlanta, and they are fabulous. Um, so type, I'm just gonna say gay shit. If you want gay shit, even though, I mean, Don't Feed the Fascists to work for everybody. If you're reading tonight, you can win. So put it in the chat, gay shit, and you're gonna win it. You're also gonna get a book with it as well. Um, as a surprise. You just don't know what book you're going to get. And I don't see anybody putting in the chat. No, really. I got these pins just for tonight. It's going to hurt my Oh, there we go. There the people go. Okay, we've got enough. So I'll put the email address in there later. So with that, I'm going to welcome back our next reader, the fabulous Beth Gillis.
Thank you, Dustin. I think Dustin did that to give a gap between Diamond and I, so I wouldn't feel quite so intimidated. Dustin, thank you so much. I've known Dustin since before Dustin was Dustin, as long almost as long as I've been a professor at Georgia State. I've known Dustin Brookshire, which is a long time. Thank you so much for bringing poets together, for being such a champion of our work and of kindness as well. So true story, I was going to read a poem from my chapbook that just came out, and the poem was titled Break Up with Being Nice.
And I thought, oh God, Dustin told us to be nice, so I'm not going to read that one. I'm going to read Breakup as Division. So, inclined to stomp on red hats, to smack someone's bigoted grandmother upside the head, I tried to think of her better qualities. She probably makes perfect homemade gnocchi, tucks in her grandkids with an amen. The grout lines in her tub are likely as clean and white as a news anchor's teeth. What if we touched fingertips across the divide? What if we licked one another like cats with our rough tongues? Stripped naked, we would shiver in front of each other, our fat rolls exposed, our bruises bright as pinwheels, half moons dark under our eyes. Graffitied curses on our t-shirts, we ugly up even the cliches of our lives. I am out of ideas. As the hummingbird moths circle the terrace unbothered, and from someone's window, a trumpet's song stitches a patch into the sky. Thank you.
Coming back for just a second. Thank you, Beth. That was fabulous. Just to clarify, when I say be nice, I'm meaning to other poets to give them some encouraging words. You can be mean, you can be sassy, you can be all the things in these poems tonight, because I love a bitchy, sassy poem. Like, they make my heart spin. Just to clarify, like, I want you to read whatever you want to read tonight, but when you go away from tonight, I want you to find at least one writer to say something encouraging to about their work. And so I'm gonna flip it back over to our next reader.
I think that's me. Hi, friends. My name is Jared Harél. Congrats, Dustin. Really, really an honor to be here. I'm going to read a short, newish poem about parenthood. Parenthood, I've realized I have two kids, has lots of firsts and also lots of lasts. And I wrote this one, I was giving my two kids a bath, and I was realizing it was getting toward the end, like maybe they wouldn't be taking baths together anymore. And so this poem kind of came from that feeling. Um, I guess its claim to fame is that the musician Pink shared it on their Instagram. It's called Last Bath. It hasn't happened yet. The awkward bloom of my children's bodies, the bathroom pin lock pushed in, the steady stream of marathon showers, bolts of thick steam, all shadowy blue. They're still here, together, the two of them like seal pups in a porcelain tub as it brims with bubbles, rubber fish, spongy green letters speckled with mold. How long till toy ships are docked and moored? It hasn't happened yet. But just yesterday, my daughter asked for privacy before brushing her teeth, of all things. That delicate word out there on her lips, like new fruit. I almost laughed, but nodded instead. The white door before me, the knob, the click. Thanks so much.
All right, now it's working. All
Sorry,
right,
it wasn't clicking. That's
that
my fault. Ben's a pro, y'all. It was me.
that's okay. Dustin, first, before I get started, another toast to you for 6 years in celebration of what you do and your literary citizenship. Oh wait, I can't. I was about to sit it down without drinking. That is some bad luck. Mm, okay. So I'm going to read from my Lambda Literary Award finalist, It Was Never Supposed to Be, which would not exist without Dustin's input. And I'm going to read the last poem in the book, which is by far not one of the better poems, but I don't read it because I typically cry every time I read this poem, and so I may break into weeping. It also has cock rings and it's hopeful and kind. So like I'm trying to be on all like the spokes of being here. All right. It Was Never Supposed to Be is the title of the book, and the final poem is It Was Never Supposed to Be Mine. The ring on my finger matches the ring around my husband's clock, platinum, rimmed titanium, set with a pair of emeralds he calls the retail price of equality, because we aren't supposed to be alive or married, precious gems twinkling inside our date night jeans. I water our window box pansies every time queer people kiss on TV, their lips merging in HDR, NYC, LA, or wherever, antidoting my doubts and good Christians content to end us by any virus raining our veins, their preachers wilding about blood, lust, law, any ism or conversion not bent toward God's. I'd wish for enlightenment, but it never helps. We abandon logic, ignore lonely hours on apps, bad moods and revenge nudes, lies surviving results we didn't expect to test. Our rings remind me I was supposed to be silence and sarcomas, not shopping for sheets or dancing in my harness at Sunday tea. Beautiful strangers on each arm, a ring around my dick, a ruin the devil calls a good time. It was never supposed to be mine. That glimmer in dishwater and sweat, in my husband's mouth, in the sea, lapping the nude beach. Thank you.
I feel so spoiled. I got to hear a lot of amazing people in this group right now read at AWP, and I got to hear Ben read, and we traded books, and I've just been carrying Ben's book around with me. It's different. It's everything. If you haven't read it and don't have it, I don't know what you're doing with your life. Congratulations, Dustin. I love you. So happy that we met on the internet and have been like the giver levels of literary cultural memory ever since, and just take absolutely no bullshit. If you know me, you know that I'm a bitch. Here's a bitchy poem. Sorry. This is National Address on the Misuse of the Word Literally. There is no room left for exaggeration. We have pushed language to its limit, and now we fail to make sense. Before, if you craved emphasis, maybe you would raise your voice, widen your eyes, bang on the table. But inside the sloppy vortex of cyberspace, those tried and true techniques dissolve. So we bottle them and inject them into the arms of literally. Now she is bloated and slack, like a potato skin freed from its innards. Literally is a sign on a bulletin board, softened and pastel with age, half hidden behind laser-etched shinies. Now literally is a tired old queen, but 50 years ago, she could own the room and make the stage, the audience, the night, literally hers to own. Literally called me last night. She left me a voicemail so that I would know it was serious. Girl, she sighed on a cigarette. It's time. I'm gonna retire. So do me a favor and tell those bitches keep my name out of their damn mouths. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you. I'm a bitch too, Rita. So we in good company, girl. We in good company. When I was first introduced to Dustin Brookshire, I thought it would be I would be encountering this very staid, like English gentleman. And instead, I got this big old homo who was one of my closest friends. So I think it was win-win all the way around. I'm going to read from my new book, Through the Lens, and it's a very gay poem. Portrait at 36. 36 is a dyke bar in another city where you are unknown, holding hands with a woman you just met but feels like home. 36 is uncalibrated, a scale that tries to balance the weight of elation against a crib mobile playing Claire de Lune on repeat. 36 is a pair of chilled flutes, a bottle of knock your socks off she bought at auction, the command to come hungry, stay late. 36 is a long string held taut on either end by two women who draw in the slack toward one another. 36 is a corkscrew, a compass, a patch of blue, a mangrove, a fortune teller, a dragoned mouth orchid that opens in a warm breeze. 36 is a runaway truck, spewed gravel, adrenaline rush, finger clutch, relief when you idle at the bottom of the mountain. 36 is an uneven sidewalk, a stumble, a buckle, a thump on the tailbone when you land on the ground, bruise so fresh it doesn't even hurt yet. Thank you.
That was beautiful. I met Dustin in Los Angeles, which was amazing, hanging out. Can everyone hear me? Okay. This poem takes place in the Middle East. It's from my last book, Lanterns in the Night Market. It's called Take 5, after the Dave Brubeck Quartet. In Amman, Jordan, 3 women smoke lemon-scented shisha on a balcony. 5 musicians appear from the jazz festival. A dialogue begins with a piano in 5/4 time. Enter whisk and marching beat from that bass drum, piano rhythm, intoxicating saxophone. A woman, her voice scatting, altogether generating music so intimate, it's like being in love. Dave Brubeck has returned from the dead. Hundreds of people leave the street, gather on these wide steps at the University of Petra. Taxi drivers from Palestine abandon their cars to join us. Music unites all into one language. Take 5. Take 5 on your busy day to find someone, to notice, to believe in the world as us. Thank you.
Okay, am I on? Am I on? Oh, okay. All right. Oh, Dustin, you're a force of nature. I'm really happy to be here. I'm glad there's so many Bictions here tonight. I feel right at home. So I'm going to read a kind of a fresh poem. I only wrote it a couple of months ago, and it's dedicated to a friend that I have in the other town where I live, which is Bellingham, Washington. So, hey, Curry, if you're out there, this is for you. Blanket. I keep thinking what I'd do if I were locked out my condo in my pajamas. What I'd do in thin cotton, 40 degrees, mercury dropping. And what if I weren't me? What if I were a brand new woman who was once a man, or thought he was? She was. No time now to think of the way time and pronouns get rubbery when one's tranced. No time, because the mind freezes and races when only yesterday, was it yesterday? November, right before she was locked out. More than half the land agreed on a man who hates her. A man so cold, it makes her colder. So cold, he turns people to ice, forms them into small, icy gods who hunt the icy streets with icy eyes and icy glocks. And there she is, locked out without a blanket, feet bare, nothing but hair to keep her brain safe. Time not exactly passing, more like pummeling, plummeting, which happens when fear and cold converge. And, well, truth is, I'm inside my cozy condo thinking about it. I've never been kept up till dawn by a rager on election night. Begged the party to go away. Then, soon after knowing what the world had become, somehow shut myself in its icebox. My mind's never stalled like the Texas power grid, cold cocked by snow. My body never told me I was burning when I was freezing. I've never stripped down to the suit God gave me or the new pussy God's medicine made me, never been chased by cops, caught, beaten, handcuffs razored into flesh, stuck in the back seat of a black and white when what I needed was a gray blanket, soft, fleece, one of those new fabrics made from petroleum, cheap as Vaseline, but feels like Angora. A human hand to wrap it round, an arm lingering, embrace with a blanket. Embrace, which means to be pulled into another's arms. I wish I could drive an elastic pathway back to that girl who was thrown into a psych ward and barely got out. I wish I could hand her a blanket. She was, after all, a newborn, naked, losing it for a blanket. A blanket. Is that so hard to understand? Give her a goddamn blanket. Thanks again, Dustin.
And apologies, I clicked the wrong name, but Saul, you're ready now. Sorry about that.
There we go. It's all good. Hi, Dustin. Congratulations on 6 years. Hello, everyone. It's an incredible honor to be here. I am going to be reading my poem, An Exaltation in Transition, and this was published in Bleeding Things, third issue. An exaltation in transition. Glory then to the swarm of chin hairs lining the sink, the unruly tide circling the drain. Glory the fabric, it's clinging to what's known and unknown, the curve of breast, sweat beads disappearing. Glory the desire to be rid of anything I deem unloved, everything falling beyond the scope of my noticing, my attention, a spotlight through which I lose myself, through which I fall into everything I deem imperfect. My voice, a prayer. Glory then, the baritone. Glory the blunt edge of blade slipped into the leather purse. Glory the sounds of the night, an endless flashing, a pulse kept always in memory. kept in my peripheral, how anything can coil at the foot of my own unraveling, and how I'd let myself, my not body, God-given, glittering rot, glory the blood, glory the needle, the serum, glory the blood, the black trace of wet line, stubborn in its hold, my eyes wrapped in my sleep. My mother says she wants to see me, after I've already decided myself beautiful for today. No time to dull my clumsy shining, I leap, still, into the sterile cold of her stare, marking me a stranger. Glory then, the breaking. Glory the fall, the echo, the singe of curling glow. Glory what burns and burns and burns. Glory the stubble. Glory the residue of last night's glory. The absence of familiar touch and unrecognizing. I notice first, then unfold the God in me. Thank you.
Wonderful work. So, can people hear me? Okay. Hi. Thank you all for these wonderful poems, and Dustin for the labor of bringing us together over the last many years. I think I'm going to read something a little more lighthearted than my usual. This is called My Least Favorite Genre. My least favorite genre is wisdom. There really isn't any. Or if there is, it smells funny, like dirty laundry, mushroomy, the creeps of the fungus family. As a kid, I knew a real fungus family. They lived in an underground house and they were wise as dirt. I grew in them like compost. Then I met the Butts family, real dumbasses. The one I kissed slobbered. They might as well have been Byron with their homemade prosthetic devices. They turned me on to ingenuity. The Butts preceded the Wieners. No, Mom, the dad a shitty drunk, security guard entrusted with a gun. From them I learned history and allegory. Then I met a girl who lived alone in a green trailer. She trapped a sparrow and kept it as a pet in a cage. Chain smoked and taught herself 12-string guitar. If she'd had an ounce of ambition, she would have been a superstar. Her motto was, I don't give a fuck. From her, I learned free verse and to make my own luck. Thanks, everybody.
Oh, isn't this evening just fabulous? Yeah, I love it. I look forward to the Wednesdays when we have the Bottom Precious Life series. So I looked back and counted, and it's like 8 people said gay shit. I have good news for you. There is still more free shit to give away. I have books. I have things I haven't told you about. And it's going to be just sort of like a potluck. You know how it is at a potluck. You don't know what you're getting from somebody's kitchen, but you're going to get something good from me, is what I can say. So put gay shit in the chat. if you want some free shit. So put it in there. It doesn't matter if you're reading tonight. Think I have enough to go around. So put it in there. Okay, and it's over at 8:30. So everybody that put it in before 8:30, we're gonna put the Wild and Precious Life email address in there as our next reader read. So just make sure this is on you. If I don't have your address, I can't mail you shit. So I'm gonna put the email address in there. Please, please, please send me your mailing address. It won't be shared with anyone. Um, well, actually, that's a lie. If you're getting one of Courtney's books, she's going to mail it directly to you because that's called cost savings. I can't talk. So, other than Courtney, that'd be the only person that gets the address if you one of her books. So, I'm going to shut up and we'll get this evening rolling again with our next reader.
That is me. Hi, everybody. I'm LJ Sysko. Dustin, we love you. You love us. It's really that simple. Thank God. And I mean, I guess absent God, if it turns out to be you centrifugally holding us all together in whatever passes for reality, thank Dustin. I'm going to read the first poem in a manuscript that, holy shit, I just finished the other day. So this poem is called I Knew a Guy in Boarding School Who Could Suck His Own Dick. I can tell you where I was standing when I found out. Like it was JFK's assassination or 9/11. At the foot of Memorial Hall steps with a group of girlfriends. Listen, last night he displayed his acrobatic plasticity and demoed animal self-husbandry for the boys in the dorm. Their hoots, louder than a scene in Salinger, archetypes of Holden and Stradlater hearing the ruckus 3 doors down and tearing ass to witness. The room was crowded with Patagonia jackets, J. Crew khakis, and rapture. Wild eyes peering down at dorm room Gollum. His lightly freckled back bowed until his head reached his crotch. A feat excruciating to watch for the vertebral knob straining the skin. The very bands of the cosmos tearing across his ribs, and the din quieting then when reverence took hold, and they held their breaths. His mouth hovered, then opened over the bell of his member as the slit wept, copiously, like a religious relic mid-miracle, beneath such oracular attention, when his lips and tongue made contact, eruption. I wish I'd been there, but between second and third periods, we were nonetheless ecstatic, incandescent at the hearing. By lunch, we were hailing one of our number, imagine, and by dinner, the witnesses in room 12 of a house improbably called Dickinson had grown improbably larger. Where are you now, specimen? On Facebook, your bio omits this brazen fact. I implore you, undertake a revision. Posterity's hungry. For your bullet points alpha and omega in our generation's synopsis. Astonishing, isn't it, what we'll crop from our stories in favor of blander, safer, and silent? For example, every one of those girls with whom I'd been standing that morning would be sexually assaulted in the 90s, each raped at least once, and we went on living. Here, in these neighborhoods draped with a moniker in uplit lettering, signs swagged like patriotic bunting, drugged at a bar, or you go ahead, I'll take care of her. At the corner of Just the Tip or the cul-de-sac called She Led Me On. Brute force, a scenic overlook, and of course the pink bedroom festooned in petaled whispers. Listen, last night I was too drunk to fend him off. An enclave with a small footprint. It's booming with citizens, and statistically it ought to have its own government and writs, beginning with, she was traumatized, and then grimaced into some, happily thereafter. We've all prepaid for the same sunny romance plot. It was cold and gray that November, counting down to Thanksgiving, and Dick Sucker in Dickinson built up his celebrity as we read Tolkien, then the Odyssey in English class, men marauding across their miserable map, then branding themselves legend. He was both tied to the mast, white-knuckled with exposure, and opening his lips wide-o to belt out the song of a siren. He was the second coming, who we all wanted to be. Mollify the monsters into supplication, and then, let 'em break their silence only if and when it's your story leaking from their mouths. Thank you.
Dustin, thank you for keeping the series going for 6 years. It's not easy to keep a reading series going for a considerable period of time. I know a lot of people start something, maybe it goes for a year or so, but 6 years is quite the commitment. So thank you for all that you're doing for poetry and for creating this community of wonderful poets gathered here tonight. You mentioned Maureen Seton earlier, and she is dear to both of us. And Caridad, Moro-Gronlier, who read earlier, her project as poet laureate was a project called Generation 305. And it was the idea behind it was to bridge generations of people together. And I wrote this poem in tribute to Maureen Seton. It's in the form of a ghazal. I'm going to read it tonight for you. It's called Let's Keep Writing in the Sky for Maureen Seton. A life lived through music takes its place in the night sky. Your song sings through stars now, June moon in the night sky. Through poems you wrote the music, and through books you wrote a life. I call out to you with elements, and your music fills the sky. You, my Libra sign of air, your hair, a crown of light. The water breezes through the trees and settles in the sky. You send me a sunflower, and I send you roses in reply. There were poems we didn't finish here. Let's keep writing in the sky. I say I love the rain, and you say I love Merwin's rain light. We don't have to see to know it's written in the sky. All night the hurricane rain is your response to my last line. Maureen, I kept my promise here. Let's keep writing in the sky. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm so, like everyone, happy to be here amongst all of Dustin's friends and fans, sharing this night together, celebrating. So where I live in Northwest Ohio has been incredibly soggy, raining, fields are all swampy, roads are flooded over and stuff. So I wanted to read a watery poem. So this is from my newest book. Oh, and in the spirit of giveaways, the first person who in the chat can message non-gay shit. Sorry, it's this poetry, I guess, but I'll send you a copy signed. So first person who types it in, then I'll have to get your okay, Katie, awesome. Message me your address. Katie Manning is the first one. I'll send you a copy. Anyway, this poem is called Reservoir. This is drinking water, right? My son asks, watching wavelets swish the boulder's seaweed tutus. Yes, I say, not knowing how it works, not knowing how much of anything works. A mower cuts the high grassy incline holding all this water in, its blade apparatus angled along the steep slope, its cab with headphone driver inside remaining plumb. So many machines and systems engineered for real purpose. Then there's me, sitting on a rock trucked in to create a fake lake's berm. I wouldn't know how to fish here if we were starved. Could I save us both if we fell in? I can only write about cloud cover obscuring sun that aches to glint off of water. I can sit here and conjure worthless words while my son wonders how long his phone might last if he tossed it in. He answers his own questions better than I could. If an earthquake split this miles around wall that should never have been here, how far into town would the waters keep swallowing? How much of this could we drink? Sometimes what looks like a lake is just a construction, not ancient at all. Sometimes a woman is incapable of being anything more than a scratcher down of words, symbols, glyphs. It would be too easy to tumble off this cliff. Thank you.
Hello. Can folks hear me? Awesome. Thank you all so much for having me. I don't know how I'm going to follow all of these great poets, but I'm going to do my best. And I'm just so honored and delighted to be here with Dustin and so many wonderful people. And congrats, Dustin, on 6 years. And I can't wait for more. This is incredible. So I'm going to read a poem that was recently, well, not super recently, but new-ish poem that was published in Show, Poetry Journal, issue 4, winter 2024. My brand is emo. It's not a phase. I haven't grown out of it. So I just love writing beautiful bummer poems. And this one is about gentrification in my community of Echo Park, Los Angeles. It's called Neighborhood Tour. My mother points out all the beautiful things. A butterfly and its pearled wings. A green hummingbird poking its snout into a silky violet. A chubby Filipina baby whose laughter echoes like the peal of Christmas bells. As she smiles through my tears, my last sob plummeting into my stomach's well, I cannot tell her that the butterfly has been hung and nailed to a wall. The hummingbird is a ghost. The violets bulldozed for high rises. The baby grows up to be a girl, and the girl lies alone on Christmas Eve with a 104-degree fever while her mother refuses to hear her. I am sorry I cannot see the beautiful things. I swallow the pearls, disappear with the hummingbird, and let the girl be swaddled by the well. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Wow, what a bunch of poets to try and follow. Thank you, Dustin, for this beautiful galaxy of poets that you have brought together over the years. I feel like I've made friends through Wild and Precious Life series. It's really special. So in honor of that galaxy and you and the Artemis launch today, I'm not going to read from my book. I'm going to read a newer prose poem called Rockets. At dusk, I sit on the deck and watch the sky for shooting stars. Skyrockets, I called them as a kid, at least until that Starland vocal band song about afternoon sex rocketed to the top of the charts and ruined the name. All of its sparkling wonder gone, replaced by the image of frantic fumbling, two people disappearing beneath a blanket. Still, I keep vigil, delighted to spot a streak of white, quick and pinprick small as the grace of gravity directs it downward. As children in the 60s, a flimsy cardboard box dismantled and reconfigured with tape and foil became our rocket. The old packing tape crusty with dirt and dog hair that clung as my brother and I dragged our creation around the house until it fell apart. Tiny explorers blasting off from the suburbs into the stars, or at least the backyard, learning to stretch the limits of our own space, learning to reach up and out and up. We watched, enraptured, as NASA rockets, scaffolded by metal, prepared to take men to the moon. The countdown ensued, and flames gushed and dusted our black and white screen as the rocket fractured from its tethers and lifted off. We would run outside and look up, as if we could spot the rocket in the Midwestern sky. We wanted to witness it, the opening of a shutter, a ripped pocket spilling, the plumb line of science splitting the dome of the sky. Years later, I watched the Challenger explode in my classroom full of fourth graders. A failed ring, a beckoning beyond my comprehension. Their confusion strummed the air to a tense hum, a groove that begged for explanation, some sort of comfort. I could not explain the human desire to hurtle our bodies toward danger. I could not, in good conscience, tell them to keep aiming for the stars. Thank you.
All right. I'm closing it out here at the end of the alphabet. So thank you, everyone, for sticking around. And Dustin, you said you have something afterwards. So everybody don't, hang on after I'm done. I was going to read something much more tender, but every time I held my hands up to clap on the Zoom, I kept noticing like they're very large. So I'm reading the poem about that. Big Hands. This is from my new book, Blowdown. I talk with my hands, talk big for a creature with a skittering heart. My hands span 10 keys easy, could palm a basketball, which I never tried because it was surrendered to do things big girls do. Every breath is a jump scare in a bar fight body. Do you believe that? Do you know what it's like to be a ball buster, terrified? Scary is a beard for scared. Ask any goth girl. Not me. Not in my body when Boney was part of the goth deal. Even after the hungry year, I have the wrong bones, big bones. I am big boned, as it were. My bones are a heavy bag to carry in my big hands. And it's nice not to break when I fall because me and gravity are on again, off again, even with huge feet. She has huge feet, my boyfriend said, huge. And I was mad, the way I'm mad when I get a ticket for running a light, mad because it's true. Still, I'd like to try being breakable. It's what the men love, men with wild hair and sinewy philosophies, the men who own presses and trust funds and guns, but will only admit the first. I'd like to give the word tiny a spin, see if my revolution gets an adorable shoe in the door and gives me a chance to rest. I am so tired of kicking it down. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I mean, man. Wait, what would the sports people say? Fucking home run, touchdown. Is that right? Did I get them all right? I don't know what you say in hockey, but heated rivalry. All the winning things happened tonight because you are amazing writers, and I am so lucky that you said yes tonight. I'm peeking at the email, and I know that the first round there were 8 people, and there were more than that, and I'm only seeing email like 5 people. So if you won something tonight, it is on you. I can't get it to you if I don't have your email address or your mailing address, but all the things, the addresses. So please, please, please take that email address and let me know your mailing address so I can get you the wonderful Don't Feed the Fascist. I also found Make Adequate Decisions. I felt like that was really me. So there's 3 of these to give away tonight. They're magnets, they're adorable. And then lots and lots of Harbor Edition books from Small Harbor Press. So thank you for being here tonight. And as I say, every Wild and Precious Life series, I don't want your money, but what I do want from you is for you to talk about the Wild and Precious Life series on social media. Twitter/X, Instagram, Facebook. If you're on TikTok, I'm too old for that. Make a TikTok video. No, really, I would love it if you made a TikTok video. Just talk about the Wild and Precious Life series on social media. The best way to promote the series is word of mouth, and it's greatly appreciated. And it costs you nothing. It's just maybe you don't want to say something about it. Just reshare on any of those that we're on. So thank you for being here tonight. Have a fabulous, safe, joyful, and creative National Poetry Month. Please write lots of poems. Or don't, or just maybe you just want to read them tonight. Do whatever you fucking want to do this month that makes you happy. You do it as long as you're being nice to other writers. And how about you come back in May? So check us out for our May reading. Hope to see you then. Good night, everybody. Be safe.